The Quest Pro is meant for business, right? Well, what about gaming? Let's talk about it. Okay, so gaming on the Quest Pro is pretty darn insane. And let me tell you why and show you some examples of the differences between the Quest 2 and the Quest Pro. Now, let me reiterate from my last video, I'm not recommending that if you're a general gamer that you buy this $1,500 headset because it is extremely expensive, and Quest 3 will probably be out next year using a lot of the pieces of technology that are used in the Quest Pro. What I am saying is that the Quest Pro right now offers the optimal best Quest experience even for gaming, and I'm going to show you why that is today. So you're seeing some Red Matter 2 footage on screen. As of right now, Red Matter 2 is the only game that I know of that is fully optimized to work with what the Quest Pro has to offer. That means it's using local dimming, it's using eye-tracked foveated rendering, which we'll talk about more in a minute, and I'll show you some examples. It's also using the extra power of the Quest Pro, apparently resulting in an increased pixel resolution of over 30%, and let me tell you, it definitely shows when you put this headset on. But there's actually physical things about the headset that make it even better for gaming, but we'll get into that after we talk about the game performance itself. Vertical Robot, the developers of Red Matter, actually mentioned in their Twitter post that the Quest Pro is a beast, and they are some of the best at optimizing for the Quest platform, having Red Matter 1 look amazing already on Quest 2, and then Red Matter 2 looked amazing as well. And now they've done it again, and it looks insane. One of the biggest reasons that it looks insane is the eye-tracked foveated rendering. So you're seeing on screen right now footage of Red Matter 2 using the Quest Pro. Now, normally foveated rendering doesn't really show up on these videos. It might be around the fringe edges, but it zooms in enough so you can't actually see most of it. In this video, you're actually going to see a lot of the foveated rendering dependent on where I was looking at. What this Quest Pro does is it actually tracks your eyes and where you're looking so that the foveated rendering follows your gaze. This means that the screen only has to render fully the visuals where you were looking at any given point in time, allowing for even better power usage so it doesn't have to render the whole screen. Normally, foveated rendering takes around the fringe edges where you wouldn't normally look or outside of your normal center of field of view, and it renders at a lower resolution and texture and all that stuff. Well, this uses the same type of technology but uses eye tracking to actually do that, meaning you can look to the left, right, up, and down, and it'll look nice and crisp. You don't have to worry about seeing that foveated rendering. Like I mentioned, one of the huge benefits of this is the fact that it actually allows for better power consumption or better usage of the power of the device, because instead of having to render the entire center of the screen where your eyes could be looking, it only renders exactly where your eyes are looking, and it's really good at it. I was actually surprised at how fast it worked, to the point where I tried catching it by moving my eyes quickly, and it's just not easy to catch. Overall, for the most part, you don't even know that there's foveated rendering going on until you go back and watch the video, because it's designed to move with your eyes, so there's no way of seeing it. It makes for kind of interesting video recording because you can see the foveated rendering shifting all over the place, as you can right here, but let me tell you, it definitely makes a difference, because when you have a game like Red Matter 2, the foveated rendering around the edges of the Quest 2 is pretty heavy, so if I look to the left or right from my center of view, you can definitely see it. Here, the whole image is crisp as you look around, which is just fantastic. It's not just that though, it's also the power of this XR2 Plus, I think is what it's called, chipset that the Quest Pro has, and you can definitely see that inside of the headset. Since this game has been optimized for the Quest Pro, it's a showpiece, and the textures and the visuals are so clear that it's like playing a totally new game. I bounced back and forth between the Quest Pro and the Quest 2 for several hours, looking at different things, adjusting settings, adjusting recordings, playing through this beginning section so many times that I've got it memorized by heart now, and every time I put on the Quest Pro, it's like stepping into a picture-clear realm. Now, I've talked about the eye-tracked foveated rendering and some of the extra power, but there are other things that make this an optimal gaming device, and those are things that have to do with the actual technology or the physical aspects of the Quest Pro. And we'll get into this more in future videos as I explore PC, VR, and other aspects of the device, but one of the biggest things for me is actually the lenses. The field of view is slightly wider, and it is more noticeable than I was actually expecting it to be, so you actually can see more of the world around you based on that slight slightly wider field of view. Now, the resolution of this headset is actually lower than the Quest 2, but because of the pixel density and the lenses, these pancake lenses, it looks far superior and way more crisp and clear. It's really hard to show that in a recorded video because it's just recording what the screen sees, not what I'm actually seeing. I could do a through the lens type of video, but that's not really going to show it properly either. Although this is an image here from Tested that Norm put in his review, and you can see a difference in this through the lens. Like I said, it's not super reliable, but you can get an idea of kind of the clarity of the Quest Pro. Speaking of clarity, I wanted to mention text on the Quest Pro. So it's designed for work, so text is obviously going to look better, and that translates to games as well. You're seeing here on the screen some text, small text, in Red Matter 2, and I could actually read every single letter on these small lines in this game. And that probably has to do some with the power and the pixel density, but it also has to do a lot with those pancake lenses. For me, the pancake lenses is one of the shining stars of the Quest Pro, and that's a good thing because Quest 3 is actually supposed to have pancake lenses as well, and that'll mean huge things for the consumer side of the technology for the Quest platform as well. Another big thing that I really think is great about this is actually the IPD adjustment. It's no longer 3-step, it is smooth steps, and as I mentioned in my video, you can use the eye tracking to center exactly where you need to be. I'm trying to base all this information on specifically gaming for the Quest 2 games on the Quest Pro. Visually, it is really stunning. It is crisp, it's clear. I don't know how much more to describe that. I wish that I could just bring this to every one of your houses and put it on your head and show you the clarity of this. That is the key word for me, clarity, because when you put on the Quest Pro, even without the light blocker, but it is great with the light blocker as well, you see so much more because of the clarity of these lenses and of this screen. Black levels is also a huge thing. It's not as good as the Quest original, but it is leaps and bounds better than the Quest 2. You actually get closer to a real black. Something else I wanted to mention for gaming on the Quest Pro is these controllers. They are tracked so well. And I've done some testing for behind the back. I didn't record a lot of it because it's just been testing in my free time, but I did in Red Matter 2 do some minor testing with bringing my arm around my head behind my back and then back around. Now, obviously, the shoulder looks a little weird when you do that in a VR game for the avatar. It kind of jumps around, but the controller itself perfectly tracks. You can see my hand rotating around my head entirely, in front and behind, and it never loses tracking, or I put my hand back behind my head and quickly move it forward, and it continues to track. Same thing with behind my back. Now with Quest 2, you can see here on screen, you put your hands behind your back and you move them quickly forward. It takes a moment for them to continue to track. They jump to the right spot because it cannot track without being seen by those tracking cameras. Overall, there's just so many things that make the Quest Pro the optimal gaming device, even though it's not aimed at gaming. And again, I'm going to repeat this. This is not a gaming device, but yes, it is amazing for gaming. Add to the fact that the power allows for me to record better quality video content without having to worry about things going wrong in the headset as much because of the lack of power. For instance, I recorded at 60 frames per second for Red Matter on the Quest 2, and it hitched up and stopped a few minutes in, whereas I didn't even get any hitches or anything with the Quest Pro. I also recorded at 4K on the Quest Pro, and although when I turned my head I was getting some frame drops and stuttering, it consistently worked well. And you can see here on screen, this is the 4K. 4K is an odd thing to record on Quest. No matter which headset I've used, it never comes out perfectly, but it definitely works way better on the Quest Pro, pushing it at a really high bit rate, a really high resolution, especially in a massively graphics intensive game like this was pretty darn impressive. There you go. Those are my thoughts on the Quest Pro specific to Quest gaming, using the Quest library to play games on your Quest Pro. It does a lot of things really, really well. The one thing it doesn't do well is burns through the cash in your wallet. It is a very expensive headset. It is comfortable, although you do have to spend extra money out of pocket just to get the full light blockers, which again don't launch until the end of November. On top of that, the battery life is less than the Quest 2, so it's not optimal in that way for gaming, but from a visual standpoint, the visual experience you can get from the Quest Pro, it is superior to the Quest 2, making it the best Quest 2 gaming device without being a gaming device. and being obscenely expensive. So if you want a premium experience for a premium price, then go to the link down below. But honestly, if you're a gamer, I can't recommend getting this and paying the price unless you've got money and you really want to spend it, because I think that in the next year or so, we'll see another device with very similar technology for the Quest 3, but that remains to be seen. What do you think, though? Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are, whether this is something you've considered, whether you're going to buy it, whether you bought it. Let me know down below what you think. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon down there, as I have additional Quest Pro videos coming out, along with obviously some awesome Quest content for Quest 2 gaming. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe and happy questing.